Right now, most Americans are living much closer to the edge than they realize. One delayed paycheck, one bad week at the grocery store, one supply problem, and the average household can feel it almost immediately. That is the part nobody likes to say out loud. We live in a system that looks stable until it suddenly does not. The shelves are full today, but that does not mean they will be full when you actually need them. And that is why long-lasting emergency food is not really about fear. It is about math. It is about having enough food in the house before the pressure rises, before prices jump again, and before everybody else shows up at the store with the same idea. The people who understand this are not trying to prepare for a movie disaster. They are trying to avoid being caught helpless in a very ordinary crisis. The truth is, most families are only a few days away from stress once normal food access gets disrupted. If wages miss a beat, if delivery systems slow down, if storms, inflation, or logistics tighten the supply chain, the first thing people do is rush to the grocery store. But by then, the best options are already gone. That is why emergency food works best when it is boring, practical, and already sitting in the pantry. The goal is not to build some dramatic survival bunker. The goal is to give your family a cushion, a quiet one, something that turns panic into patience, something that lets you eat tomorrow, even if the store is crowded today. And a surprising number of the best foods for that are not expensive, exotic, or complicated at all. At number 16, we have white rice. White rice is one of the simplest emergency foods in the world, but that simplicity is exactly why it matters. It stores well, it cooks easily, and it gives you a base that can be paired with almost anything else you already have. Beans, vegetables, canned meat, bouillon, oil, and spices can all turn rice into a real meal. More importantly, rice gives you calories in a form that is easy to stretch. When food prices go up, rice helps you make the rest of your groceries last longer. That is not glamorous, but it is real survival math. White rice also has a psychological advantage. It feels complete. It makes a pantry look like a plan instead of a problem. That matters when families are stressed and trying to stay calm. At number 15, we have salt. Salt may seem too basic to matter, but it is one of the most important items in any emergency stockpile. Without salt, food gets bland fast, and bland food becomes hard to eat day after day. That matters more than people think. In a normal week, you can tolerate weak meals. In a hard month, morale begins to break down. Salt helps preserve, season, and improve almost everything else in your storage. It is light, cheap, and stable, which makes it one of the smartest items to buy early. People often focus on calories and forget that food also has to be edible enough to keep eating. Salt keeps the pantry usable, and that alone makes it valuable. At number 14, we have sugar. Sugar is another item that is easy to overlook until you do not have it. It helps in baking, drinks, and morale. A little sweetness can make a long stretch of plain food feel less punishing. That psychological effect is real. Emergency food is not only about surviving hunger, it is about staying human while you do it. Sugar also stores well and can be used in many different ways, which gives it flexibility. In a crisis, flexible foods matter because they can solve more than one problem. Sugar does not just improve taste. It helps people feel like they still have some normalcy, and that can matter as much as the calories themselves. At number 13, we have honey. Honey is one of the most famous, long-lasting foods for a reason. It is naturally shelf-stable, useful in cooking and drinks, and capable of lasting a very long time when stored properly. But honey is also a morale food. It gives people a sense of comfort that dry emergency staples often cannot. It goes into tea, it goes on bread, it goes into oatmeal, and it adds immediate value to whatever else is available. If a pantry is a defense system, honey is one of the morale boosters that keeps the defense from feeling miserable. That matters because the first thing people lose during a long disruption is often patience, not appetite. Honey helps protect both. At number 12, we have bouillon cubes. This is one of the most overlooked items in emergency food storage, but it is one of the most powerful. Bouillon cubes transform plain water into broth and plain ingredients into something that tastes like an actual meal. That is huge. When you are stretching rice, noodles, beans, or vegetables, flavor becomes a force multiplier. Bouillon cubes are tiny, cheap, and easy to store, which means they punch far above their weight. They also help people feel like they are eating something warm and intentional, not just surviving on raw calories. That difference matters when stress is high and morale is low. At number 11, we have peanut butter. Peanut butter is one of the best emergency foods because it combines calories, protein, fat, and convenience in one jar. You do not need heat, water, or a complicated recipe. You can eat it quickly, spread it on bread, or use it in simple snacks. That is why it stays popular in every kind of emergency planning. But peanut butter is not only useful physically, it is also a morale food. Children know it, adults trust it. It feels familiar, and familiar foods calm people down during uncertain times. That is not a minor detail. In a real disruption, the family that can still serve something comforting has a big advantage over the family that only stockpiled raw ingredients and no easy meals. At number 10, we have oats. Oats are cheap, filling, and useful in multiple forms. They can be breakfast, baking material, or a base for other meals. They also store well enough to make them a staple in any serious pantry. What makes oats especially smart is that they are adaptable. You can eat them sweet or savory, hot or cold, plain or with additions. That kind of flexibility makes them more valuable than many people realize. In hard times, flexibility is everything. The food that can change with the situation reduces waste and helps families avoid burnout from repetitive meals. Oats are boring in the best possible way. At number 9, we have dried beans. Dried beans are one of the strongest long-term food investments because they are dense, inexpensive, and extremely versatile. They require more preparation than canned beans, but that effort pays off in shelf life and value. Beans give you protein, fiber, and a foundation for countless meals. When paired with rice, they become a complete and affordable staple that can keep a family fed for a long time. That is why beans have been central to survival food plans for generations. They are not trendy, but they are reliable. And in a real emergency, reliability beats trendiness every time. At number 8, we have wheat berries. Wheat berries are a serious long-term storage food because they can last for years when stored properly and can be ground into flour when needed. That gives them an advantage over regular flour, which is more vulnerable to spoilage and time. Wheat berries are the kind of items serious preppers buy when they are thinking beyond the next grocery trip. They are a true backstop. If milling tools are available, they can become bread, cereal, and other basics. If not, they still represent a deep store of nutrition waiting to be used. That is the kind of quiet security people overlook until they need it. At number 7, we have pasta. Pasta is another emergency staple that can stretch into a lot of meals with very little effort. It is fast, it is easy, and it can work with sauces, oil, bouillon, canned meat, or vegetables. Pasta is especially useful because it is familiar. Families already know how to cook it, which lowers the learning curve during stress. In emergency planning, convenience is not laziness. Convenience is resilience. The easier something is to use, the more likely people are to actually use it. Pasta works because it turns a difficult pantry into a functional one without requiring much extra thought. At number 6, we have canned tomatoes. Canned tomatoes are one of the most practical shelf foods because they can become sauce, soup, stew, or a base for many other meals. They bring acidity, flavor, and structure to food storage. That matters because emergency cooking can get repetitive fast, and tomatoes help break up the monotony. They make rice and pasta more useful, and they help plain ingredients feel like real meals. Canned tomatoes also provide a feeling of normal cooking, which helps people stay mentally steady when conditions feel unstable. That psychological value is easy to underestimate, but it is very real. At number 5, we have canned fish. Tuna, sardines, and similar products provide protein, fat, and shelf stability in one package. That makes them especially important when fresh meat is expensive or unavailable. Canned fish is also one of the more realistic emergency foods for families because it can be eaten straight from the can if needed. No cooking required. That simplicity matters. It is the difference between a pantry that looks good on paper and one that actually functions under pressure. Canned fish also provides a break from carb-heavy storage foods, which helps keep meals more balanced and more satisfying over time. At number 4, we have powdered milk. Powdered milk is one of the most underrated emergency foods because it preserves access to dairy without refrigeration. That is incredibly useful when power goes out, when fresh milk is expensive, or when supply chains get tight. It can be used for drinking, cooking, baking, and mixing into recipes that depend on milk. A family with powdered milk has more options. Options matter. They reduce stress and make planning easier. And in a crisis, ease is not a luxury. It is a survival tool. Powdered milk quietly fills a gap that many people do not think about until they are already facing it. At number 3, we have peanut oil, or another stable cooking oil. Fat is essential in a long-term food plan because calories alone are not enough. Oil helps with cooking, flavor, and energy density. It also makes simple food taste less like punishment. When people are stressed, the wrong kind of emergency food can make the whole situation feel worse. Oil improves the food you already have. It is a small bottle with a large impact. That is why people buy it early and keep it locked into their pantry rotation. A pantry without fat is technically stocked, but not truly ready. At number 2, we have powdered eggs. Powdered eggs are not glamorous, but they solve a real problem. Eggs are valuable, but fresh eggs depend on refrigeration and regular supply. Powdered eggs extend that usefulness into a much longer time horizon. They can be used in baking, breakfast meals, and recipes that need protein. That makes them one of the practical backup foods that serious families quietly hold on to. People sometimes dismiss powdered foods because they do not feel fresh. But in an emergency, fresh is not the only measure of value. Reliability counts too. At number 1, we have jerky or shelf-stable meat. This is one of the most valuable emergency foods because it delivers protein in a compact form with no refrigeration. It is strong, portable, and useful when people need something substantial quickly. Like peanut butter, it also has morale value. It feels real. It feels like food that matters. In a long disruption, that matters a lot. Families need calories, but they also need meals that feel like meals. Shelf-stable meat helps bridge that gap. It turns a pantry from survival only into something closer to actual living. The real lesson in all of this is simple. The best emergency foods are not the most dramatic ones. They are the ones that quietly make a family harder to disrupt. They protect calories, but they also protect morale. They protect flexibility, but they also protect sanity. That is why people buy them fast. Not because the world is ending, but because ordinary life can change faster than most people think. The shelves may look full today, but the people who wait until tomorrow may already be too late.